I'm known as this like big poet that does all these like big feminist themes and like fights against the world, and I have not been able to do it. Because there's stuff going on in the world that's really fucking big right now, and sometimes words don't do it. So I have to find other ways to show up. And sometimes those ways are really private. Sometimes they happen behind my closed doors. Sometimes they're where I choose to spend my money and what I choose to say and do to people. Sometimes those acts are organizational. It's what I encourage my organization to do. And sometimes those acts are public and they're performative in different ways. Last year, 104 women were killed by people in femicide, mostly by men. 90% were killed by men in this country. This year, 24 women have been lost to gendered abuse and violence in this country. And I went back through those names today, and I couldn't see one that wasn't killed by a man. On the stage right now, I have 24 people standing here, and each one of them with a red veil on their face, and each one of them representing a woman that we have lost this year. And they're here, and I didn't mention them until this moment because I haven't written a new poem about this. I don't know how to do that, but it's always there. No matter what I'm doing, when I'm making tea, they are there. When I'm driving my kid to school, they are there. When I'm planning a gig, they are there. And I was picking my kid up from school today, and I was talking to them about this event. And they said to me, 24, you're taking 24 veils? And I said, yes. And this 10-year-old said to me, but Mum, what if a woman gets killed today? You won't have enough veils. Like, we are at that point when 10-year-olds are thinking about that. So I'm going to end this poem with this set with a poem that I wrote a few years back. Just after I arrived in this country, Jill Ma was murdered, and that kind of showed me, it was just down the street from where I lived, that showed me the city that I had moved to, the country that I had moved to. Not that it's any different from England, let's be honest. And when I wrote this one, it was when there was a spate of murders. This particular one was written just after Eurydice Dixon was killed, and within that week, within that month, so many women were killed. I would have a list that I would read off before I did this poem. I don't have a list. I can't remember all the names. I also don't have consent to use all the names. One name I do have consent for is Isla Bell. She was a daughter and a friend within my community who was killed last year. So this poem is for them. And I just want to say, some of these people had no idea they were going to be doing this tonight. And I really appreciate the strength and the courage it takes to get up on a stage and do something like this when they have no idea what they're getting into. So thank you so much to all of you. Sometimes a battle cry sounds more like a weep, because a warrior has been lost without her even knowing that she was a warrior in the first place. I mean, what girl knows that? Between the braiding of hair and the unpacking of the patriarchy, what girl knows that her very existence is a battle cry in a hollow landscape of untold truths and unwhispered secrets? What girl realizes that she is more than just emotions and expectations? That the very act of her opening her voice, speaking her needs, is the raising of a sword in a battle that we did not sign up for, in a fight that we did not want, in a role that we have been told to play for centuries. What girl wakes up knowing she is a warrior? That every full-bodied breath is an act of defiance, an act of reclaiming a body that was stolen before she was even born. Because it's only in these moments, In these moments, when it is undeniable, when we are silenced by the unimaginable grief of having yet another limb ripped away from the body of our being, when the dust is settling on the grave of another fallen woman who was reminded of her place in a society which still insists she is equal, it is only in these moments that it is undeniably clear that we are warriors. And our very existence is a battle cry in a hollow landscape of untold truths and unwhispered secrets, and we cannot afford to be silent any longer. Even if today all we can do is weep. Thank you. Thank you very much, Slama and Ding Dong. I'm sorry if I went over.